Good morning. It is Tuesday, July 15th. I'm Zach Howard. Here's my morning market update. What we're looking at today in the notebook and the slides. So the U.S. government joined at the hip with the other central planners. The Federal Reserve going to make it official here any day now. And maybe that's why Bitcoin's been front running. The signal, the greatest macro indicator of all time, really has been Bitcoin over the last 5-10 years. And like I said, they got the henchmen from the government out kind of saying they're going to fire Powell or make him resign. One or the other is the same thing. And the ability to fire him comes down to incompetence, failure to deliver the renovations to the Federal Reserve's building on time, on budget. If there's one thing a real estate developer hates, is overruns. I've worked with lots of them over the years, been one myself as well in the financing game, and Trump certainly can hang his head on. This guy can't even get his building built on time or on budget. 700 million over budget. The US dollar is kind of front running the news as well that the Banana Republic policy is coming here. Trophy, Federal Chair, Reserve token member, whoever that's going to be. Maybe it's Eric Trump Jr., Donald Trump Jr., I don't know. But the dollar, this is a long-term chart of the DXY. Would you want to be buying this as a long-term play if you didn't know what it was? This level of trend pattern, I don't think so. Speaks to where the puck is going for all this. Bank of America research loves polling the old wall, the old broker community on Wall Street, investors who watch CNBC to figure out what's happening in the world, and they actually think somehow the Federal Reserve matters anymore in 2025. Have you guys been living under a rock for the last 5-10 years? The Federal Reserve, data dependence, and their dual mandate of employment, maximum employment, and inflationary policy. Yeah, right. But that's what people still believe. But it's not just the Federal Reserve. They're all joined at the hip. Bank of Canada works in partnership with the federal government. The Bank of Japan works in partnership with the Japanese government. The ECB works in partnership with Germany and the other governments as well. And the policies need to align. Fiscal spending needs to align with easing of monetary policy to keep the whole game going. And we have a bunch of easing policies on deck ahead in 2025 and into 2026. This is what the market is forecasting already before any hiccups in the ointment. Defense spending, NATO, Germany, the rhetoric around Ukraine, Russia, more bombs, more money printing. That's what it all means. It's going to need more policy, more invisible hand theory on the part of central banks to keep all that going. The alternative is get continuous growth out of the economy. AI and advancements in technology is going to play a part in the countries adopt that. But can the math overcome the deficit and the debt without a invisible hand? Boys, Bitcoin news. Standard Charter European Bank launches Bitcoin trading. They're a large institution globally that gives respect now to the asset class that everybody else is already realizing in the West. And the opposite of Saylor in terms of stacking fiat to buy Bitcoin, Mr. Warren Buffett, he is now a massive owner of U.S. debt from a short-term floating rate financing on that T-bill. T-bill is usually less than 2 years in duration, 90 days to 120 days on average. Berkshire Hathaway has massive cash holdings. They don't hold those billions down at their local Wells Fargo or JP Morgan checking account. They're in the form of T-bills. That's mostly why he has such a large position in the T-bill market. But he is a main contributor, facilitator of that deficit spending with that liquidity. Fast forward to what we potentially see in the U.S. is the long duration bond going no bid. When people don't want to finance these continued deficits, these continued wars, unless they're forced to. And that's what Japan is ongoing here. The 30-year bond, JGB, broke up to 3.2%. That's massive when you consider where it was 5 years ago at negative rates, the way a bond works, especially the longer duration it is, the more receptive it is to interest rate changes. The value of that bond from a mark-to-market standpoint loses its value significantly if the interest rate in the real market of that same bond today rises, which is what we're seeing. So a lot of leverage built into global financial system through Japan's easy money policy. Eventually, this is going to come undone. Japan is the first of these major fiat currencies that is really officially hitting death notice with its rise and these bond yields breaking out. One of the things I like to track in my notebook every day is the Bitcoin to gold ratio. Looking to make a new high here, 35.7 yesterday. This is going back 5 years. Continues to say Bitcoin goes higher. Interesting stats here. So every day there's 144 blocks that can be mined. The block reward currently for Bitcoin is 3.125, which equates to 450 Bitcoin a day had the potential to be mined. No more than that, no matter what. That is in the protocol. 3,150 each week. Okay, that's what's available to be mined. This is what the IBIT ETF has been stacking weekly. This is what Strategy's been stacking. This is what MetaPlanet, the blockchain group, Smarter Market, we're counting out these new treasury companies. This is what is making the setup for Bitcoin and these treasury companies so appealing. It is simply math. It's simply supply and demand. And we are coming to the point where there's real price discovery going to happen. However, to pause and be a conspiracy theorist for a half of a minute and something interesting to look at, there's 80,000 Bitcoin that has been dormant for well over 14 years, has suddenly moved in the last couple of weeks. Ironically, the first move was on Independence Day, July 4th. I had some speculation at first. Maybe it was Alex Jones found those 10,000 lost Bitcoin that Max Kaiser gave him way back in the day on a laptop, but that is not the case. Then I thought, well, maybe it could be Ross. He just got out of prison, Ross O'Broy, and he had a wallet put away, hidden away somewhere, never told anybody about it, and he's taking those Bitcoins and putting them on exchange and moving them. Maybe he's making the play for something with a sovereign nation. But if we do some research into these coins, 20,000 of them have already moved apparently into Galaxy Digital's platform. So looking to have a buyer for those Bitcoins, whoever the seller is. And the evidence lines up that this was an early miner back in the day. You can mine Bitcoin basically on a cheap laptop or very low cost. But it's ironic that someone is moving these after all this time here with the price at all-time highs. Buyer for it, the 20,000 has already moved. Looks like it's been someone on Binance, Bybit. Is it a sovereign nation, UAE? Is it a large corporation? But somebody's making a market for these coins. Don't think they're Ross's coins, but interesting to try to think about what happens next with a big move like this. Still back to the supply-demand dynamic, 3,150 a week. That's what I got for you today. Have a great day. My Bitcoin price, my notebook, 111,000 to 124, big wide range. Let's see what happens with volatility. Check you out tomorrow.